The arena was alive with noise. Bright lights floated above a giant metal stage. Alien creatures from hundreds of planets filled the seats. They came to watch the Mind War, a dangerous psychic battle where minds clashed like weapons. At the center stood warriors from across the galaxy. Some had glowing heads, others had no faces at all. These were the galaxy's greatest thinkers and telpics. Then came the human. He walked in slowly, wearing a simple black suit. No armor, no implants, just calm eyes and a silent expression. Many aliens laughed. A human, one of the worm-like creatures, said, "This is not a place for your kind. Humans can't even mind-link without breaking," said another with long silver eyes. But Jared Kane didn't speak. He just stepped forward and placed his hand on the crystal table, the one that linked all minds in the game. "I place everything I am," Jared said softly, on the table. A silence fell over the crowd. A moment later, the translator drones repeated his words for all to hear. "He bets himself." One alien elder asked. "Yes," the gamekeeper replied. "It's consciousness. If he loses, his mind becomes empty." That made the crowd louder. Some shouted in anger, some in amusement. But all of them agreed. This was madness. The Mind War wasn't just a game. It was a mental battle where warriors entered a shared dream space. If one's mind broke in there, they would die in real life or worse, become forever lost. The idea that a human could survive this was almost funny. Still, the council allowed it. Rules said anyone could enter if they understood the risk. Inside his waiting room, Jared sat alone. He closed his eyes and placed a small silver coin against his temple. This was no normal coin. It was part of Earth's secret project. Something discovered deep beneath Antarctica 10 years ago. Something ancient. And not from Earth Project Ghostlink. It was the reason Jared was here. Not for glory, not for war, but to finish what Earth started. The moment came. The lights dimmed. A blue field of energy rose from the stage and wrapped around the players. Their minds connected. Their thoughts merged. They were now inside the dream sphere. Each warrior floated in a space of stars and light. In this place, thoughts became weapons. Memories became traps. Fear became fire. One alien sent a blast of confusion. Another sent waves of terror. They moved fast, attacking Jared from all sides. But Jared didn't fight back. He just floated, calm as water. "Is he broken already?" One player laughed. But then something strange happened. One of the attackers stopped moving. He twitched, then screamed. His mind, one of the strongest telepaths in the galaxy, was collapsing. "No contact made," shouted a monitor drone. The human didn't strike, but still, the alien fell, his thoughts shattered into white dust. The arena outside grew silent. Inside the dream sphere, Jared looked up. His eyes were glowing, not with human light, but something ancient, something alien. Unknown symbols began to form around his body. Symbols that no one in the galaxy could read anymore because they were from a species long dead. The crowd didn't know it yet, but they were watching the return of something lost for 1,000,000 years. Flashback 2 years ago. Deep beneath the ice, Earth scientists found a sphere. Not a machine, not alive, but a mind preserved and waiting. It didn't speak, but it pulsed. It searched. Jared was the first one it chose to connect with, and somehow he survived. Now it was inside him. Not in control, but watching. And maybe helping. Back in the dream sphere, more aliens attacked. One tried to trap Jared in a loop of fake memories. Another created a black hole of sadness, pulling his thoughts toward madness. Still, Jared didn't fight back. But every time they touched him, something touched them back, and then they fell. One after another. The watchers outside couldn't believe it. The scoreboard showed one name glowing brighter. Jared Kane. Human, the council began whispering. "This is not normal. What power is he using? We have to stop this before he reaches the final round." But they couldn't stop the game now. Rules were sacred. Inside the dream sphere, Jared floated alone. The others had backed away. He finally spoke. "Still think humans are weak?" he asked, his voice echoing through every mind present. No one replied. He turned to the next challenger. "Your move?" Outside, the crowd watched in total silence. For the first time in history, they feared a human. Not for their weapons, not for their ships, but for their mind. The dream sphere was silent. After Jared Kane's strange victory in the first round, none of the alien minds wanted to go next. Some floated far back, whispering in thought space. Others stared at Jared with cold fear. He just floated quietly, eyes still glowing, surrounded by ancient symbols that kept moving around him like ghosts. One, alien tall, thin with burning. Green Thoughts finally stepped forward. "I am Zalanor, Thought Commander of the Verex Empire," he said, his voice echoing across the minefield. "You are nothing but a parasite hiding behind a dead god's memory." Jared didn't reply. He only looked at Zalanor, and that silence, that stillness, scared everyone more than any threat. Zalanor attacked first. He sent a memory wave, meant to trap Jared in his worst fears. Sighted, Jared saw Earth burning, his family screaming, his own face in pain. But Jared didn't react. Instead, something behind Jared reacted. A shadow moved silent and smoothed, swallowed the memory. Trapped like it was air.xa, Lenore blinked. He tried again. This time, he formed a mind blade, shaped from anger and sharpened with guilt. Still, Jared didn't lift a finger, but as the blade touched his aura, it melted like metal hitting fire. Then, Jared tilted his head. "You're not strong," he said quietly, just loud. Suddenly, Zalanor froze. He felt something entering his mind. It was cold, old, and it whispered in a language no living race could speak. A second later, he dropped from the sky, screaming in a voice that broke the sound field. Outside the dream sphere, his body shook. His eyes turned completely black. "Pull him out," shouted one of the med drones. "He's losing brain function." The game council panicked. Stop the match. Ban the human. Ooh! But they couldn't break the mind war bond unless a player surrendered or died. And Jared, he just watched, back on Earth, in a hidden room under the Atlantic Ocean. General Harrow and Dr. Riva were watching the live feed. "I told you he could do it," Dr. Riva said. "He's not doing it alone," Harrow replied. "That thing, inside him, it's awake now." "Good," she said. "Let them all feel what they laughed at." In the dream sphere, a new challenger came forward. This one was different. Creature made of pure energy. It didn't speak with words. It sang. Its thoughts like a sad melody. "You carry something dangerous," the energy being said. "You don't understand it." Jared finally blinked. "I understand enough. You will destroy yourself." "Maybe," Jared answered. "But not today." The next attack was not violent. It was gentle. Soft wave of memory meant to calm. Then open Jared's mind. This was not where it was a scan. The energy being wanted to see. What was inside Jared? It made a mistake. As it touched Jared's thoughts, it suddenly gasped. Impossible. It whispered, that mind, that structure. Before it could finish, it vanished, pulled into a white vortex behind Jared's back. Not destroyed, but absorbed. The other players screamed in fear. "He's not human anymore. He's becoming something else." Jared spoke again. "You think I'm here to win? I'm not." "Then why are you here?" asked one of the younger minds. He looked at them all. "I'm here to warn you. Earth is not what you think. Humanity's not alone anymore." They didn't understand, but they would. Soon. The council was in chaos. "Shut the system down." "We can't. The ancient mind inside him is holding the link stable. Then we must send in Zorvin. Only he has a chance." A door opened in the upper part of the arena. From it floated Zorvin, the undefeated champion of Ten Mind. Wars, a being of pure logic and centuries of experience. His body was small, like a floating crystal, but his mind was heavy. It made the air shake. He entered the dream sphere. The others backed away. Only Jared stayed still. Zorvin examined him for a full minute. "You are dangerous," he said, "because you do not understand what you are becoming." "Maybe," Jared said. "But I do," Zorvin continued. "You carry a fragment of the Star King, Godmind." "Then you know you can't beat me," Jared replied. "No," Zorvin said, "but I can stop you before you go too far." And with that, the true war began. Jared felt pressure like never before. Not pain, but depth. Zorvin was not attacking with fear or anger. He was pressing with pure knowledge, pure data, pure weight. It was like drowning in logic. But then, from deep within Jared's thoughts, the ancient mind stirred, and it whispered, "Let me speak." The dream sphere began to shake. Zorvin's mind pressure was strong, like standing under a mountain made of pure thought. Most beings would have broken in seconds. But Jared Kane didn't fall. He stood in silence. His body glowed brighter. The ancient symbols around him turned red, then gold, and deep inside his mind, something else awakened. A voice. It wasn't loud. It didn't shout or scream. It whispered, "Let me speak." Jared hesitated back on Earth. During Project Ghostlink, he had felt this presence only once. When he touched the alien sphere buried under Antarctica, his brain almost died that day. But somehow, he survived the connection. Now, the mind inside. The sphere the Star King was speaking again. Jared whispered back, "Are you sure?" The voice replied, "You want to survive this? Then open the door." Jared nodded. In the dream sphere, something changed. The stars blinked out. The light dimmed. Even Zorvin paused. Then, the sky inside the minefield opened. A shape came. Through it had no face, no form. It was like a storm of memories. Lightning made of thoughts. Wind made of time, and from it came the words, "I am the memory of a dying empire." Zorvin backed away. "That's impossible," he said. "That mind was destroyed before time even began." "Not destroyed," the voice replied. "Buried, waiting, watching." Outside the dream sphere, alarms began to sound. Machines that had stood silent for centuries activated. Even the elders beings that lived for thousands of years stood up in fear. "This cannot be." One whispered. "That's a prime-level mind," said another. "Thought, extinction class, reality warping. It's inside the human." Inside the sphere, Jared floated calmly. But he was no longer alone in his head. The ancient mind was not taking over. It was sharing. Thoughts ran through him at lightning speed, memories of stars being born, galaxies falling, wars between beings made of pure energy, and one memory stood out. A warning. "Your species is next." Zorvin tried to resist. He launched a beam of thought so sharp it split nearby memories in two. It struck Jared, but instead of breaking him, it passed through. Then, without warning, Jared lifted one hand. It wasn't a weapon. It was a signal. And suddenly, Zorvin saw himself. He was a child again, lost, weak, not a champion, just a scared little mind trying to survive. Then he saw his greatest shame. It's the time he abandoned his own people to save himself. The memory burned. Zorvin screamed and fell. He wasn't hurt physically, but his pride, his perfect logic, was shattered. The Watchers gasped. Another champion defeated, and still. The human had not attacked once. Back in the control room, the Elder Council argued, "This is not a mind war anymore. This is a ritual of awakening. If we stop it now, the ancient mind may go fully active. But if we don't, we might face the second rise of the Star King." Someone turned to the last council leader. "What do we do?" He spoke slowly. "Let it finish. We must know what this hybrid mind wants." Inside the dream sphere, Jared turned to the others. All the players backed away. He spoke softly, but every being heard it in their native tongue. "I didn't come here to fight, then why?" Juan asked. Jared closed his eyes. "To prove that humans are not just survivors. We are evolvers." The ancient mind added its voice, overlapping with his. "Together, we are something new." Jared pointed to the sky above the trimmage. Images appeared, visions of Earth's future, humans walking among alien cities, human children learning telepathy, human ships traveling through folded thoughts instead of space, and at the center of it all, minds fused with ancient knowledge. One player asked, "What will you do next?" Jared smiled. "I'll win." And then the scoreboard updated again. Final round begins. Jared Kane, last human. Remaining opponents too? Both silent? Both afraid? From the edge of the dream sphere, the last alien players appeared. The strongest of all. One of them spoke. "We are not here to test your strength. We're here to understand what you've become." Jared replied, "Then step forward and see for yourself." They hesitated. He added, "I don't want to destroy you, but I won't let anyone stop me either." With that, the final battle began. The final round had begun. Only 3 minds remained in the dream sphere, Jared Kane, to alien champions. Last giants of the psychic galaxy. These weren't ordinary warriors. One was Veltric, an ancient being from the gas planet Oral, the mind so massive it held an entire species inside it. The other was Serenial, a living crystal hive that had never known defeat. Her mind was not one. It was 10,000 thoughts, singing as one. And then there was Jared, a human, but not just a human anymore. He stood between them, calm. Behind his eyes, the Star Keen whispered silently, not controlling, not leading, just amplifying. Veltrac made the first move. He sent a wave of weight. Not gravity thought gravity. The kind of pressure that made lesser minds bend and break inside the dream sphere. The stars around Jared cracked and fell like glass. The sky itself seemed to fold inward. But Jared didn't flinch. He walked forward, step by step, like gravity was nothing. And then he whispered, "Do you know what lives beneath your mind?" Veltrac stopped. "What? What?" he asked. Jared raised one hand. Suddenly, Veltrac saw at his own hidden thoughts, the ones he had buried millions of years ago. A genocide, betrayal, scream he could never forget. He roared, trying to stop. But it was too late. His own guilt crushed him. Veltrac, the giant of Oral, collapsed. By the weight of his own forgotten past, the arena outside went completely silent. Aliens, who had never feared anything now, stared in terror. Jared Kane, without striking, had broken. Another legend. Now only Serenelle remained. Her voice echoed. "In 10,000 tones, you are dangerous," she said. "Not because you fight, but because you reveal." "Truth is more deadly than any weapon," Jared replied. Serenelle formed a Marura living memory trap. If Jared looked into it, he'd be pulled into his own worst moment forever. She pushed it forward. Silently, Jared looked straight at it. The mirror flickered. It showed him on Earth. Before the Ghostlink project, alone, powerless, useless, watching others do what he never could. It showed his fear, his shame. It whispered, "You were never enough." Jared closed his eyes. He breathed in, then. He accepted it. "Yes," he said. "I was weak." The mirror cracked. "I was scared." The mirror shattered, but I changed. And from his chest, light poured out. It wasn't rage. It wasn't ego. It was growth. "Sorry, Dash." Nell stepped back. Her and 1,000 minds confused. "You've accepted it?" "Yes." "You didn't fight it?" "No." She trembled. "We were never taught how to do that." Her mind began to ripple, and then she bowed. The final scoreboard updated. Jared Kane. Victory. Achieved Mind War Champion. New record. No attacks used. Only reflection. Back in the real world, the dream sphere faded. The mental field lowered. Jared stood, alone on the stage. The alien crowd watched in stunned silence. He wasn't bleeding, wasn't tired, but his eyes glowed brighter than ever. One of the elder judges floated forward. "You've won the Mind War," he said slowly, "but we do not understand you." Jared replied, "That's okay. You will." Another elder asked, "What do you want? Power? Territory? Technology?" Jared shook his head. "I want understanding. A place at the table. A future for my kind, as equals." The elders looked at one another, and if we say no, Jared smiled. Then the voice of the Star King echoed faintly, not loud, not threatening, just present. Then we will make our own table. A low hum filled the air. Jared looked up at the stars. He could feel them now, not just see them. Each one held secrets. Each one could be reached. The ancient mind inside him whispered again, "You've passed. Now teach them." From that day, Jared Kane wasn't just a human. He became a bridge between the past and the future. Between alien and man, between power and peace. They laughed at the human's gamble. Now they watched in silence, because he had collapsed giants. With just the truth, the arena was empty now. The crowd had left in silence. No celebration, no music, no awards, just silence. Because no one knew what Jared Kane had become. In a quiet chamber beneath the arena, Jared sat alone. Wires were connected to his body. Monitors showed impossible readings. His brain activity wasn't just Hyatt, it was alien. His thoughts were layered, like two minds were moving in the same brain. One human, one ancient. A door opened. Calso Elder Virel, a tall insectoid with 6 eyes, entered. "We don't understand you," she said, standing at a distance. "You don't have to." Jared replied, "We need to know," she said. "Are you still Jared Kane?" He looked at her. His face was calm, his voice steady. "I am, but I'm also more." Back inside Jared's mind, a new world existed. It was not a dream. It was a mental city built by the fusion of two minds. One half looked like Earth, trees, buildings, stars. The other half was ancient, floating temples, glowing symbols. Planets that moved like thoughts. This was where Jared met himself, or rather, a part of him that was not him. The voice of the Star King formed into a figure. It had Jared's face, but older, wiser, glowing with power. "Why did you choose me?" Jared asked. "Because you were empty," the voice said. "Empty. Not broken, open. Open to change, to learning, to become something new." Jared walked through this mental city. He saw memories that weren't his. A star being born. A black hole turned into a weapon. A civilization that lived inside sound. He saw a war long ago. The ancient mind had once ruled and fallen. "Why did you lose?" Jared asked. "Because we forgot what it meant to be small." The voice said, "We forgot fear, pain, regret." "And now?" Jared asked. "You remember those things?" the voice answered. "That's why I trust you." Back in the real world, strange things were happening. Jared's presence began to affect others. Guards around him had headaches. Machines near him flickered. Drones lost connection, not because Jared was attacking, but because his mind was now too large for regular systems to handle. He was still human in form. But mentally, he was something bigger. The council gathered again. "What if he loses control?" one asked. "What if that ancient mind takes over? What if this was a mistake?" Elder VL stood and spoke. "It's too late to turn back. The gamble has been made. Now we must see where it leads." Jared walked out of the chamber as he stepped into the open sky. A strange feeling came over the city. Birds flew in a perfect circle above him. The air became still. Children stopped crying, and every telepath in the city felt the same whisper in their head. "He is awake." Jared looked to the stars. One star, far away, pulsed once. He smiled. "That one's calling me," he said. "Why?" Someone asked. "Because there's another mind inside it." "One like this one," Jared answered, tapping his temple. The council was shocked. "There's more like you?" Jared nodded. "We were never alone. We just weren't ready to hear them." That night, Jared entered the dream sphere again, but not to fight. He went to connect, and what he found was terrifying. There were Eco's other minds sleeping inside black holes, drifting through gas clouds, hiding inside suns. Some were peaceful, some were hungry. Jared spoke to the Star King inside him. "How many are there?" "Thousands," the voice replied. Some waiting, some watching, some broken, and Earth. Jared asked, "They will come for it eventually." Jared clenched his fists. "Then we need to prepare." The next day, Jared stood before the council. "I want to build a school," he said. They stared at him. "A school?" One asked. "After all this, you want to teach?" "Yes," Jared replied. "Humans, aliens, anyone." "Teach what?" He looked at them. "How to survive the next wave." Because the truth was clear now. Jared hadn't just won the mind war. He had opened the door, and behind that door were minds beyond. Understanding minds that wouldn't laugh, minds that wouldn't wait, minds that would come, take, unless someone was ready, unless someone like Jared taught others how to fight from the inside. Jared Kane stood on a glass platform above the alien city. Below, thousands watched silently, humans, aliens, hybrids, even machine beings. They came not for war, not for a game, but to witness something that hadn't happened in 1,000 years, the forming of a multi-species mind school. Jared spoke softly, but everyone heard him. "Knowledge saved me. Not weapons, not strength, just understanding." His voice echoed through the minds of those who had gathered. "Now we teach others, because something is coming. And when it arrives, laughter won't save you, but deep in the galaxy, something else was already moving. It wasn't alive, it wasn't dead. It was broken consciousness, drifting through space, searching for thoughts to infect. A fragment of the ancient war, the same war that created the Star King, and it had heard Jared's voice. It wanted him. Back on the council world, Jared began training others. At first, simple mental defenses. How to block illusions, how to clear memory fog, how to stay calm under psychic attack. Students came from every planet. Some called him the Mind Walker. Others called him the Human Key. He hated the names. It was still just Jared, but he could feel something changing. One night, Jared stood alone in the training dome. He felt it before it arrived. A dark pressure, cold, heavy. The Star King inside him whispered, "Something broken is near." Suddenly, the sky above the dome cracked. Not physically, but mentally. A psychic rift opened, black, sharp, humming with hunger. From it came a scream, sound not of voice, but of pure pain. Students across the city fell to the ground, holding their heads. Jared looked up and saw it. A figure of ash and fire stepped through the crack. Its body was torn thoughts, stitched together by madness. Its eyes were holes into nothing. It spoke without sound. "You stole my seat." The Star King inside Jared growled. Fragment of the drowned thought, it said, "You are not whole. You are not welcome." The creature hissed. "You are weak. Sharing with a mortal, I consume, I rule." Jared stepped forward. "You want me?" The creature smiled. "Twisted, broken thing. Yes." The fight began without warning. The sky turned red in the dream sphere. Jared was pulled inside not by his will, but by force. He was alone. No students, no allies, just him and the broken mind. Inside the sphere, it attacked first. A wave of despair slammed into Jared. He saw Earth burning. He saw his family forget him. He saw himself alone forever. But he didn't break. He whispered, "You're not showing me the future. You're showing me your fears." The broken mind screamed. Jared reached inside himself and called to the Star King, but the voice was silent. "Where are you?" Jared asked inside his own mind. "I cannot help this time," the Star King replied. "Why not?" "Because you are no longer my student. You are becoming something more." Jared understood this was his test. The broken mind struck again. This time, it pulled Jared deep into his own memories. Project Ghostlink. The pain, the first fusion, the fear, the moments when he almost quit. "You were never strong," the creature said. "You were a lucky accident." Jared stood tall. "No," he said. "I was a choice. I chose to risk everything. That's what you fear. It's not my power, my will." And with that, he pushed back. The broken mind howled. Its body cracked. Jared stepped forward and placed his hand on it. You're not a god. You're a broken echo. You feed on fear. The creature tried to scream again, but no sound came. And then Jared whispered one word: silence. The broken mind shattered, like glass. Outside, the sky cleared. The students woke up, the rift closed, and Jared stood alone on the rooftop. Later, Elder Varel met him. What was that? Jared looked at the stars. Something old. Something angry. Oh, it wanted what I had. She nodded slowly. And what do you have? Jared replied. Control. Not just of power, but of myself. But he knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy had heard his voice, and not all of it was friendly. That night, as he slept, the Star King whispered again. You did well. What now? Jared asked. Now, we awaken the rest. The stars were no longer quiet. After Jared Kane destroyed the broken mind, something shifted across the galaxy.
Ectos bounced from one system to another, warning some, waking others. Something ancient had returned, and now many wanted
it. On the planet Kylos, Jared's school had grown into a full-mind academy. Dozens of species trained daily under his guidance, learning to think deeper, link faster, and defend against unseen threats. Jared moved through the minds of his students like a quiet breeze, never pushing, only guiding. But deep inside, he felt a pressure growing. The Star King whispered, they're coming, not broken, not wounded, but whole and angry.
How?
They didn't come with ships. They came inside dreams. One night, Jared was sitting beside the fire in the mine garden when a student screamed. He ran to her. She was frozen, eyes wide open, but her body untouched. Her mind had been taken, not destroyed. Not damaged, just emptied. Soon, it happened to another student, and two more. Each victim was pulled into a place Jared couldn't reach, a dark space beyond the dream sphere, where only one law ruled: submit or vanish. Jared knew this. Was it? The last thought war had begun. He summoned the council. The mind swarm is back, he said. Elder Varel stared in disbelief. That's a myth, Jared replied. They're real. They were once like the Star King, ancient, united. But when their unity broke, they chose a new path: consume all thought, become one mind. Varel asked, how do we fight them? Looked at the empty eyes of his students. With everything we have, and no fear. The battle wasn't physical. It was fought in dream worlds, shared visions, inner space. Jared led a team of strong minds, humans, aliens, and even synthetic thinkers. They entered the mirror field, a new mind layer between life and death, where the mind swarm waited there. Jared saw it. A mass of floating minds, all fused into one being. It had no face, just voices, too many voices, and all of them said the same thing: come join us. The first clash was brutal. One of Jared's allies, a crystal thinker from the planet Vera, was swallowed whole, then added to the swarm. But Jared kept moving forward. He remembered what the Star King taught him. Don't fight their power. Fight their belief. Jared sent out his thoughts, memories of resistance, of standing alone, fighting when no one believed in him. And something strange happened. Part of the mind swarm stopped. A few minds inside it remembered what it was. Like to be free, the swarm roared. You are poison. Do you bring division? Jared replied, I bring choice. And then he did something no one expected. He let the Star King go, inside his own mind. Jared opened the final gate. Thank you, he said to the ancient voice. But now it's my war, the Star King whispered. You are ready. Be more than my host. Be human. And it vanished. Jared's mind was now only his. No alien power. No shield. But he didn't need it, because in that moment, every student. He trained every mind he touched to linked with him. He became not one mind, but many, connected by trust, courage, and will dot the opposite of the swarm. A new force. The The final clash shook the mirror field. The mind swarm tried to pull him in, tried to erase his past. But Jared pushed back, not with hate, but with a simple truth. I would rather die as myself than live as part of you. The swarm cracked, its voices faded. Some parts drifted away, whispering like wind. Others broke off and vanished. And at the center, where it all began, one small voice whispered, "Thank you." Then, silence. Jared fell to his knees inside the dream dash field. His allies helped him up. The war was over, not won by strength, but by refusing to surrender the self. Back in the real world, Jared opened his eyes. He was weaker now. The Star King was gone, but around him stood hundreds of minds, stronger than ever. He smiled. "I don't need to carry it anymore," said, "because now you will." Elder Varel walked to him. "You changed everything," she said. Without firing a single shot, Jared looked up at the stars. "They laughed at the gamble," he said. "But I didn't come to gamble, I came to grow." The galaxy had changed. The mind war was over. The swarm was broken. The Star King, once the oldest voice in Jared Kane's head, was gone. Now, Jared stood alone. Not as a weapon, not as a legend, but as a man who had walked through the minds of gods and returned. News of Jared's victory spread across the stars. Planets that had never trusted. Humans before now sent invitations. Ambassadors called Earth a mind-born world. Some even whispered a new title, "He who holds thought itself." But Jared refused all honors. He didn't want to rule. He didn't want to lead. He just wanted peace, time to understand what he had truly become. One night, as he stood on a quiet hill overlooking the training grounds, Elder Varel approached him. "Why don't you take the seat on the council?" she asked. "You've earned it." Jared smiled. "That seat was never mine, but you defeated the swarm. You united minds. You saved us." "No," Jared said softly. "We did." In truth, Jared didn't need to lead anymore, because something better had happened. He had planted a seed and it had grown. Hundreds of students of all races now traveled the stars to teach others how to think freely, how to defend themselves without violence, how to resist mind control and mental war. The galaxy didn't need one. Jared Kane, it needed thousands, and that was exactly what it had now. Still, something inside Jared was changing. Even without the Star King, his mind was different. He could still feel alien thoughts in the distance, hear dreams before people spoke. And sometimes, just sometimes, he saw the future like a whisper behind the stars. He began to wonder, had something else awakened inside him? Then, one day, a ship landed without warning. It was not from Earth. It was not from any known system. It had no markings, no radio signals, no engine noise. It simply was Dot, and from it stepped a figure. It had no face, no voice, but its presence was overwhelming. Every mind nearby felt it like a storm. Jared walked to it alone. The being didn't speak. It simply projected one question. "Are you ready?" Jared didn't ask. Ready for what? He already knew. This was one of the old Watcher's beings that existed before memory, older than the Star King, older than war itself. It had come to offer him a choice, not a reward, not punishment. A simple path. "You are more than human now," the being said, thoughts flowing like warm rain. "You can join us. Learn the thoughts between stars, but you cannot return." Jared thought of Earth, of his students, of his quiet hill. Then he looked to the stars and smiled. "I'll go," he said. "Ow!" "But not because I'm done here. Because they don't need me anymore." He turned back one last time and said to his people, "Think free, be more, and never stop asking, why?" And then he vanished. The ship dissolved. The stars flickered once, and Jared Kane, the human no one believed in, it's the one who gambled his mind and won, was gone, but not truly, because stories of him spread, whispers told of a man who walks between thoughts, helping broken minds rebuild, a traveler with calm eyes and a silent step. Some say he became pure thought. Others say he still walks quietly through alien cities, leaving no name, only peace. But one thing is always the same in every version. He never took anything by force. He never raised a weapon. He only asked questions. And that changed everything. Final words? They laughed when Jared Kane, a simple human, entered the greatest mental battlefield in the galaxy. They mocked his silence. They mocked his gamble. But when it ended, walked away, owning an alien mind. And maybe more than that, walked away owning the future.